Hello, guys, a very good morning. So, today I'm going to read chapter 14, Resist the Downward Pull of the Group, the Law of Conformity. We have a side to our character that we are generally unaware of, our social personality, the different person we become when we operate in groups of people. In the group setting, we consciously in imitate what others are saying and doing. We think differently, more concerned with fitting in and believing what others believe. We feel different emotions, infected by the group mood. We are more prone to taking risks, to acting irrationally because everyone else is. This social personality can come to dominate who we are, listening so much to others and conforming our behavior to them. We slowly lose a sense of our uniqueness and the ability to think for ourselves. The only solution is to develop self awareness and a superior understanding of the changes that occur in us in groups. With such intelligence, we can become superior social actors, able to outwardly fit in and cooperate with others on a high level while retaining our independence and rationality. When people are free to do as they please, they usually imitate each other. Eric Hoffer. Keys to human nature. At certain moments in life, we humans may experience an energy that is powerful, with sensations unlike any other. But this energy is something we rarely discuss or analyze. We can describe it as an intense feeling of being belonging to a group, and we often experience it in the following situations. Let us say we find ourselves in a large audience for a concert, sporting event, or political rally. At a certain point, waves of excitement, anger, or joy move through us, shared by thousands of others. In a similar vein, perhaps we have to gain a talk before a group. If we are not too nervous and the crowd is on our side, we experience a swelling of emotion from deep within. Or perhaps we find ourselves working in a group with a critical goal to reach within a short time frame. We feel a charge of energy that comes from feeling connected to others who are working with the same urgent spirit. The above feelings are not registered rationally. They come to us in an automatic bodily sensation, goosebumps, racing heartbeat, extra vitality and power. Let us call as this energy the social force, a type of invisible force field that affects and blinds a group of people. Let us call us this energy the social force, a type of invisible force field that affects and blinds a group of people through shared sensations and creates an intense feeling of connection. We can observe several interesting elements to the social force. First, it exists inside us and outside us at the same time. When we experience the bodily sensations mentioned above, we are almost certain that others on our side are feeling the same. We can also say this force differs depending on the size and chemistry of the particular group. In general, the larger the group, the more intense is the side effect. When we are among a very large group of people who seem to share our ideas or values, we feel quite a rush of increased strength and vitality, as well as communal warmth and heat that comes from feeling that we belong. And finally, we are drawn to this force. We feel attracted to numbers. A stadium full of partisan supporters of a team, choirs of people singing, parades, carnivals, concerts, religious assemblies, and political conventions. The social force is neither positive nor negative. It is simply a psychological part of our nature. In general, to the degree that the social force tends to degrade our ability to think independently and rationally, we can say it experts a downward pull into more primitive ways of behaving unsuited to modern conditions. The social force, however, can be used and shaped for positive purposes, for high level cooperation and empathy, for an upward pull which we experience when we create something together in a group. What we need more than anything is group intelligence. This intelligence includes a thorough understanding of the effect that groups have on our thinking and emotions. With such awareness, we can resist the downward pull To acquire this intelligence, we must study and master two aspects of the social force: the individual effect of groups on us and the patterns and dynamics that groups will almost always tend to fall into. The individual effect, the desire to fit in. The first and primary effect on you in any group is the desire to fit in and cement your sense of belonging. The first way you do this is through appearances. You dress and present yourself more or less the others do in the group. The second and more important way to fit in this by adopting the ideas, beliefs, and values of the group. Yes, I have done that. The longer you are in the group, the stronger and more insidious this effect. In the long run, it is much better to confront your inconformity to the group ethos so that you can become aware of it as it happens and control the process to some degree. The need to perform. Stemming from this first effect is the second effect in the group setting. We are always performing. It is not just we conform in appearances and thinking, but we exaggerate our agreement and show others that we belong. In the group, we become actors, molding what we say and do so that others accept and like us and see us as loyal team members. As part of this performance, we minimize our flaws and display what we consider our strengths. You should feel no shame about this need. Better to be aware, be to retain their inner distance, and to transform yourself in a conscious and superior actor, capable of altering your expression to fit the subgroup and impressing people with your positive qualities. Emotional contagion. Like all social animals, we are primed from an early age to sense and pick up the emotions of others, particularly those close to us. This is the third effect of the group on us, the contagious of emotions. You can observe this in yourself by looking at your own emotions in the moment and trying to decipher the effect others might have had on them. Discern which emotions are the most contagious for you and how your emotions shift with the various groups and subgroups you pass through. Awareness of this gives you the to control it. Hyper certainty. When we are in the group, we feel the urgency to act. We feel the pressure to decide and get behind the decision. And so, the fourth effect on us is to make us feel more certain about what we and our colleagues are doing, which makes us all the more prone to taking risk. Whenever you feel usually certain and excited about a plan or idea, you must step back and gauge whether it is a viral group effect operating on you. Never relinquish your ability to doubt, reflect, and consider other options. Your rationality as an individual is your only protection against the madness that can overcome a group. Group dynamics. Since the beginning of recorded history, we can observe certain patterns that human groups fall into almost automatically, as if they were subject to particular mathematical or physical laws. The following are the most common dynamics that you must study in the groups that you belong to or pass through. Group culture. The group will always have some type of identifiable culture and spirit. Two things to keep in mind. First, the culture will often center on an idea that the group imagines for itself: liberal, modern, progressive, ruthlessly competitive, tasteful, etc. Second, this culture will often reflect the founders of the group, particularly if they have a strong personality. Group rules and codes. For any human group, disorder and anarchy are too distressing, and so standards of conduct and rules for how to do things quickly evolve and become set. These rules and codes are never written down but are implicit. When you are new to a group, you must pay extra attention to these tacit codes. Look at who's rising and who's falling within the group. Signs of the standards that govern success and failure. The group code. Observe any community of chimpanzees at the zoo, and you will notice the existence of an alpha male and other chimpanzees adapting their behavior to him, fawning, imitating, and struggling to forge closer ties. This is the pre-human version of the code. The courtiers may look different now, but their behavior and strategies are pretty much the same. You must take note of a few of these behavioral patterns. See more on this below. First, courtiers have to gain the attention of leaders and ingratiate themselves in some way. The most immediate way to do this is through flattery. Flattery Courtiers have to gain the attention of leaders and ingratiate themselves in some way. The most immediate way to do this is through flattery. Second, you must pay great attention to the other courtiers. Learn to downplay your successes, to listen or seem to listen deeply to the ideas of others, strategically giving them credit and praise in meetings, paying attention to their insecurities. Hmm. Third, you need to be aware of the types of courtiers you will find in most courts and particular dangers they can pose. Keep in mind that there is no way to opt out of the court dynamic. Better to be the consummate courtier and find some pleasure in the game of court strategy. Find some pleasure in the game of court strategy. The group enemy. Look at the group you belong to, and you will inevitably see some sort of enemy or boogeyman to push against. What you require is the ability to detach yourself from this dynamic and to see the enemy. As it is, minus the distortions. Take this even a step further by learning from the enemy, adapting some of its superior strategies. Group fractions. Over enough time, individuals in a group will begin to split off into factions. If left alone, factions can become so powerful they take over and depose or control the leaders themselves. Better to tighten the whole group by creating a positive culture that excites and unifies its members, making factions less attractive. Your task as a student of human nature is twofold. First, you must become consummate observer of yourself as you interact with groups of any size. Begin with the assumption that you are not nearly as much of an individual as you imagine. We are all permeable to the influence of the group. What makes us more permeable is our insecurities. Your goal must be to lower your permeability by raising your self-esteem, self-confidence. Your second task is to become a consummate observer of the groups you belong to or interact with. Consider yourself anthropologist studying the strange customs of an alien tribe. You are catching the social forces as it molds the group into an organism, the sum greater than its parts. Your goal in this second task is to maintain as tight a grip on reality as possible. Okay? Okay. Your strategies and decisions will be all the more effective for this. Okay. Just as groups tend to exert a downward pull on our emotions and behavior, we can also experience or imagine the opposite, a group that exerts an upward pull. Okay, what it is again? Just as groups tend to exert a downward pull on our emotions and behavior, we can also experience or imagine the opposite, a group that exerts an upward pull. Downward pull, upward pull. There are two types of groups. Okay, we shall call this ideal the reality group. Okay, so exerts upward pull means the reality group. See more on this below. It consists of members who feel free to contribute their diverse opinions, whose minds are open, and whose focus is on getting work done and cooperating on a high level. By maintaining your individual spirit and your grip on reality, you will help create or enrich this ideal team of people. This I kind of like this one. The reality group that exerts an upward pull. The court and its courtiers. Courtiers tend to fall into certain types depending on deep patterns stemming from childhood. The following are seven of the more common types you will find. The intriguer. Okay. These individuals can be particularly difficult to recognize. They seem intensely loyal to the boss and to the group, but this is a mask they wear. Behind the scenes, they are continually intriguing, amass more power. They generally have a disdain for the boss that they are careful to conceal. In identifying this type, you must look behind the efficient and loyal front and even the charm. Keep your eye instead on their maneuvers and their impatience to rise from within. Realize that when they are looking at you, they are thinking of how they can use you as a tool. Okay. Realize that when they are looking at you, they are thinking of how they can use you as a tool or stepping stone. It is best to keep your distance and not become one of their pawns, nor their enemy. Okay. But how we will identify that this person is going to use me? In identifying this type, you must look behind the efficient and loyal front and even the charm. Keep your eye instead on their maneuvers and their impatience to rise from within. Okay, so I have to take a look on their impatience and I have to look beyond their charm. And the loyal front. Okay. Until it's going to apply in real life, I don't think so I can find any clue. Okay. Now, the steerer. This type is generally riddled with insecurities but adept at disguising them from those in the court. They feel deep wells of resentment and envy for what others seem to have that they don't. Their game is to infect the group with doubts and anxieties, stirring up trouble which puts them at the center of action and may allow them to get closer to the leader. Okay. If you feel the group succumbing to viral anxiety about some wage threat, try to locate the source of this. You might have a starer in your midst. When dealing with a known starer, do not directly or indirectly insult or show disrespect. Okay. First, I have to find the starer, then I must not directly or indirectly tell him. This is 3, this is 4, this is 5. The gatekeeper. The goal of the game for these types is gaining exclusive access to leaders, monopolizing the flow of information to them. They often rise to their position by fawning over the genius and perfection of the leader, whom they idealize. In gaining such proximity, they also get to see the leader's dark sides and learn of their weaknesses. This unconsciously binds leaders even more tightly to gatekeepers, whom they might fear alienating. Having such power over the admired leader is their endgame. Wow. Once such types are installed in power, they are extremely dangerous. Running afoul of them in any way will cut off key access to the one player on the board who matters the most, and other perks. Recognize them early on by their shameless psychophany toward the boss. In general, it is best to recognize their power and remain on their good side. Shadow enabler. More than others, leaders have to keep their shadow side under wraps. Unconsciously, their shadow is yearning to come out. In steps the enabler, one of the cleverest and most diabolical countries of all. These types are the masters at detecting repressed desires in others, including leaders having established contact with the leader's shadow. The enabler then takes this further, with suggestions of possible actions for leaders, ways to vent their frustrations, with the enabler handling it all and serving as protection. It is too dangerous to cross such ties unless what they are planning is so dark that it is worth risking your own position to stop them. Take heart that their careers are generally short. Maintain a polite distance. Okay. Take heart that their careers are generally short. Maintain polite distance. The shadow enabler, huh? Okay. The code jester. Almost every count has its jester. They can be the code cynic and scoffer, who has license to spook fun, who has license to poke fun at almost everyone and everything, including sometimes the leaders themselves, who tolerate this because it shows their apparent lack of insecurity and sense of humor. These types fall into such roles because secretly they have a fear of responsibility, and a dread of failing. They know that as jesters, they are not taken seriously and are given little actual power. Never take their existence as a sign that you can freely imitate their behavior. There is rarely more than one gesture per court for a reason. Better to reserve your non-conformity for your private life or until you have amassed more power. Mm, the mirror. These types are often among the most successful courtiers of all because they are capable of playing the double game to the hilt. They are adept at charming leaders and fellow courtiers, maintaining a broad base of support. They are masters at reflecting back to people their own moods and ideas, making them feel validated without sensing the manipulation as opposed to using over flattery. This is a role you might want to consider playing in the court because of the power it brings, but to pull it off, you will have to be great reader of people, sensitive of their nonverbal cues. You want to be able to mirror their moods, not just their ideas. With leaders, you must be aware of their idealized opinion of themselves and always confirm it in some way, or even encourage them to live up to it. Okay, the favorite and the punching bag. These two types occupy the highest and lowest rungs of the code. Every king or queen must have his or her favorite within the code, as opposed to the other types whose power generally depends on efficiency and demonstrations of abject loyalty. The favorite's rise in power is often based on cultivating a more personal, friend-like relationship. Try to avoid being lured into taking this position, making your power dependent on your accomplishments. Okay, and your usefulness, not in friendly feelings people have for you. Not on the friendly feelings people have for you. Much as in any children's playground, in the court there is almost always a person who plays the role of the punching bag, whom everyone feels encouraged to laugh at in some way and feel superior to. Much of their ridicule will be behind the back of the targets, but they will sense it. Do not engage in this dynamic. Within the ruthless environment of the code, try to befriend the punching bag, showing a different way of behaving and taking the fun out of this cruel game. Okay, okay. Do not engage in this dynamic within the ruthless environment of the code. Try to befriend the punching bag. Okay. Showing a different way of behaving and taking the fun out of this cruel game. The reality group. What creates a functional, healthy dynamic is the ability of the group to maintain a tight relationship to reality. The reality for a group is as follows: it exists in order to get things done, to make things, to solve problems. It has certain resources it can draw upon. It has certain resources it can draw upon: the labor and strengths of its members, its finances. It operates in a particular environment that is almost always highly competitive and constantly changing. The healthy group puts primary emphasis on the work itself, on getting the most out of its resources and adapting to all of the inevitable changes, not wasting time on the endless political games. Such a group can accomplish 10 times more than the dysfunctional variety. It brings out the best in human nature, people's empathy, their ability to work with others on a high level. It remains the ideal for all of us. We shall call this ideal the reality group. We shall call this ideal the reality group. The following are 5 key strategies for achieving this, all of which should be put into practice. The following are 5 key strategies are achieving. Okay, okay. All of which should be put into practice. Friedrich Nietzsche. Madness is something rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, peoples, and ages, it is the rule. Africanus. Instill a collective sense of purpose. That social force that compels people to want to belong and to fit in, you want to capture and channel for a higher purpose. You can accomplish this by establishing an ideal. Your group has a definite purpose, a positive mission that unites its members. This purpose is not vague or implied but clearly stated and publicized. To make this work, the group must practice what you preach. You want to establish a track record of results that reflect the group's ideal. You want to keep reminding the group of its mission, adapting it if necessary, but never drifting from this goal. Assemble the right team of lieutenants. As the leader of a reality group, you need the ability to focus on the larger picture and the overall goals that matter. You have only so much mental energy and you must marshal it wisely. The greatest obstacle to this is your fear of delegating authority. What you need to do from the outset is to cultivate a team of lieutenants imbued with your spirit and the collective sense of purpose, whom you can trust to manage the execution of ideas. To achieve this, you must have the right standards. You do not base your selection on people's charm and never hire friends. You do not base your selection on people's charm and never hire friends. Okay, you want the most competent person for the job. You also give great consideration to their character. Okay, got it. You select for this team people who have skills that you lack, each individual with their particular strengths. They know their roles. You also want this team of lieutenants to be diverse in temperament, background, and ideas. Feeling a part of a team but able to bring their own creativity to the task will bring out the best in them, and this spirit will spread throughout the group. Let information and ideas flow freely. Consider the open communication of ideas and information about rivals, about what is happening on the streets or among your audience, the lifeblood of the group. To achieve this, you want to encourage frank discussion up and down the line, with members trusting that they can do so. To allow for such openness, you must be careful in these discussions to not signal your own preference for a particular opinion or decision, as this will subtly tip the team into following your lead. Even bring in feeling a part of a team but able to bring their own creativity to the task will bring out the best in them, and this spirit will spread throughout the group. Let information and ideas flow freely. Consider the open communication of ideas and information about rivals, about what is happening on the streets or among your audience, the lifeblood of the group. To achieve this, you want to encourage frank discussions up and down the line, with members trusting that they can do so. To allow for such openness, you must be careful in these discussions to not signal your own preference for a particular opinion or decision, as this will subtly tip the team into following your lead. Even bring in experts and outsiders to broaden the group's perspective. Okay, I love this one. Extend this open communication to the ability for the group to criticize itself and its performance, particularly after any mistakes or failures. Infect the group with productive emotions. Infect the group with a sense of resolution that emanates from you. You are not upset by setbacks. You keep advancing and working on problems. The group sense this, and individuals feel embarrassed for becoming hysterical over the slightest shift in fortune. You can try to infect the group with confidence, but be careful that this does not slip into grandiosity. Your confidence and that of the group mostly stems from a successful track record. Most important, showing a lack of fear and an overall openness to new ideas will have the most therapeutic effect of all. The members will become less defensive, which encourages them to think more on their own and not operate as automations. Yeah, this is true. Forge a battle-tested group. You want to be able to gauge the relative inner toughness of people before you are thrust into a crisis. Give various members some relatively challenging tasks or shorter deadlines than usual and see how they respond. Some people rise to the occasion and even do better under stress. Consider such people a treasure to hoard. Okay. Observe carefully how individuals react to the slight amount of chaos and uncertainty that unfold from this. Of course, in the aftermath of any crisis or failures, use such moments as a way to review people's inner strength or lack of it. So that's how people in the company find out which person is a great asset for our company and which is not. Okay, that's a great thing, Madness is something rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, peoples, and ages, it is the rule. Friedrich Nietzsche. Yeah, that's it for today. See you tomorrow. And in next video, we will read chapter 15, Make Them Want to Follow You. Till then, see ya.